Susan with you this morning on ABC Queensland, and regardless of where you are in Queensland, all that's been going on weather-wise can be a lot on your shoulders. And I'm joined now by psychology consultant Dr. Jo Lukens. Thanks for being with me this morning.
Thanks for having me, Susan.
It can be really quite an emotional time, can't it? Whether you're in those particular communities or whether you're watching and thinking of your mates and relating because you may have been through a very similar situation.
It certainly can be, and I think sometimes we misunderstand how much of a cost that has on us, that in addition to the physical fatigue, so we know it, you get kept awake through the middle of the night with the rain on the roof or the concerns and the worries, that's an obvious one, but it's the emotional weight of a lot of this stuff, particularly when it's ongoing and perseveres, that it can really have an impact on us.
Yeah, a lot of people getting to the end of their tether.
Yes.
What are some of the common signs that somebody might be struggling and we need to be thinking about mental wellness and some interventions maybe even?
Yeah, so a range of things, and I think it's about kind of looking in the mirror where we can from time to time and just noticing those things that have maybe changed for us and those things that are persevering. So it might be we've noticed that there's been ongoing changes in our mood. It might feel like we want to withdraw from things that we would normally do. We might be finding it hard to make decisions or feeling overwhelmed, changing our behaviours in terms of how we cope. So there's a range of things that can happen, particularly changes in our sleep and our appetite as well. But all of those things are worthy of paying attention to and just checking in with ourselves to see how we're going.
Yeah, just to check in, what are some signs that perhaps we need to get some extra help?
Yeah, so there can be a couple of things. And like I said, so if you notice some of those signs and symptoms and you might think, do I need some support in managing this? Because I think that's one of the other things that when we have an ongoing event like this, if we look particularly at our weather conditions at the moment, times when we would normally cope with situations might be a little bit more difficult when we've got this extra emotional load. So I think that's one of the things that, you can sometimes look at situations and go, gee, I normally cope really well with this. What's wrong with me? Well, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that you've been going through this ordeal and it comes at a cost.
The straw that broke the camel's back might happen a little earlier than what you might normally think.
Absolutely, and it can take us by surprise because we kind of think that normally we can manage through some of these situations. So what I would say to someone is if the signs and the symptoms feel a bit different for you, if it feels like it's persisting and it's been occurring for an extended period of time, if you're looking to cope in ways that you normally wouldn't, maybe, drinking a bit more or any of those kinds of behaviours, or even if you're just feeling overwhelmed, the good news is there's lots of ways that you can seek support, whether that be in a formal way or a less formal way, and you don't need to go through this by yourself.
Let's talk about those different forms of support because they can look very different. A lot of people might think of sort of those more formal supports like seeing a psychologist, which I do, and I value so very much my psychology appointments, but it's not always such formal ways of seeking support, right?
No, it doesn't need to be. And I think one of the things that we definitely know in the field of psychology, it's an area I've been in for a long time, is that people really matter, and having people that you can talk to who listen to you. It's such an important skill, listening. It's such a basic skill, but such an important one. And so we can find that in lots of different ways. Like you said, through the sort of more formal things that we might immediately think of. Those people who are in workplaces might have a thing called an EAP, which is an employee assistance program that might be set up for them. We know there's lots of, community groups. There's lots of, and the nice thing with technology now, particularly for anyone who is finding it a little bit hard to get out and about from where they're living, is there's lots of options potentially over the phone or online, hoping that you have those resources available to you to connect that way.
Yeah. Hopefully a neighbour if you don't have the power and the connectivity at the moment. But yes, those services like Lifeline, Beyond Blue, there's so many different services that are over the phone. We do have to go to the news in just a moment, and there is an update to that severe weather warning that I want to read out. But just before we wrap up, what's one thing you wish everyone knew about mental health?
I wish everyone knew that the mental health is just as important as our physical health, and it's something that we all have. So, just like our physical health can range from time to time, so too can our mental health, and it's really okay to seek some support and some help, and there's people out there wanting to help you with whatever you're going through.
Psychology consultant Dr. Jo Lukens, thank you very much for being with me today, and I really do encourage you to get that help if you need it.